told you in past interviews, Ryan has spoken about this like relationship with his father, and that's the reason why he's so insane and controlling. He's spoken about how it made him a bit of a control freak because his dad used to yell or whatever. Seems very clear if that's a circumstance, Ryan is kind of becoming, maybe taking on some elements of his father. But this message arrived in my box, and it's about his first drama teacher from when he was 13 years old. And I think it's interesting to share. And again, this is going to be a much older person. I think that's relevant because there are two people who always tell the truth, and that's senior citizens and toddlers. They just get to a place where they just constantly are telling you the truth about everything, and they don't care what anybody has to think about it or say about it. And so this individual wrote this. I'm cutting off the person's name, obviously, because I'm afraid Ryan Reynolds will go after him. It came in from Alberta, Canada. He said, "It may be an odd thing. I was his first acting teacher. True. Summer 1989, he was 12. His parents had gone on a vacation, so grandparents he was left with had him for 3 weeks, as I recall. After a week, they enrolled him in my classes, essentially, as I found out, because they needed a break from him. Within the first 3 days, I had had enough. The other kids had had enough, and their parents were complaining because everything was about him. Self-centered, loud, sneaky, obnoxious, narcissistic, unkind, and deceitful. I spoke to the grandparents that he needed to abide by the expectations, or I'd punt him and give them a refund. The next day, same old. So I kicked him out. 2 days back with the grandparents, they begged me to take him back. So I said on a couple of conditions. I drew up a quote unquote contract, essentially reiterating the initial expectations, but adding some behavioral things I had noticed that needed to be addressed. And he had to write an apology letter to the class and either read it to the class or memorize it and present it to the class like a script. And if the other students said no, then no it would be. But I did hold the final say. I work with kids in mental health. I have for decades. This was nothing new to me. So he returned. The kids were a bit shocked, but he was on probation. And then he was asked, Ryan, is there something that you'd like to say to the other students here? Yes, if I may. He got up, audience of 15 plus kids, paper in hand. He glanced down at it, started to read it, then stuttered, cleared his throat, swallowed, then started without the paper. Tears started to well in his eyes. I'm so sorry that I, heavy breathing, selfishly stole time from you all as Mr. David was trying to teach us all about acting, and I made it about me. And I just want to say that I will do my best to listen and will try really hard not to interrupt. Tears now. And it's just that nobody really listens to me. So sniff, I will try my best to be better. Sorry, full tears. The kids were on their feet, over to give him a hug, etc. Can he come back to our class, please? So I said yes. A few minutes later, he passes by me and under his breath utters, I was acting. My God, it's very scary. I don't know. So I stopped him from walking away and I whispered, I know. I guess he had learned something, but there was a streak in him. I wouldn't trust him. I didn't know if it was evil, insecurity, a ton, fear, psychopathy, arrogance, or just a sociopath, but he was 12. He never says he took an acting course. He turned 13 in October. He had the it factor. I think I still have his first headshot in a box somewhere with 100 other kids that I taught. I just felt like I should share that. I don't know. That one, for some reason, to me, first off, hits the fact that there is some issues in his background or whatever, which he has admitted in these weird skits. But the other thing was just the ability to switch on and to have a teacher who has a background in mental health, which I was able to confirm, believing that there was some sort of a pathology that was driving that and that he's had that for a very long time. Interesting enough to share. Weird. And I just feel like that's creepy to be crying in front of class and turn teacher and be like, I was acting. Everything that you just saw was not real. It's just giving serial killer dressed as an actor. I'm not saying Ryan's a serial killer. I'm just saying if he wasn't an actor, where would Ryan be? That's all I'm saying. So anyways, that is enough about that.